Hello and welcome back to Crafting Cartoons, your one-stop shop to find out everything it takes to make your very own animated series, film, or pilot. Today we've got a very special guest, Salom, and I will pass over to you to introduce yourself.
Hi there, I'm Salom Sinu. I'm a character designer and illustrator. I've worked on a few books, including Hey You, which was awarded a British Book Award. And in terms of animation, I've worked on a series called Jojo and Gran Gran as a character designer. And I've also done some freelance bits with Disney. And my other career highlight is I've done a Google Doodle as well.
So my first question is, how did you get into character design?
Wow, how did I get into character design? Well, you know what, it's a long story, but I'll cut it short. But essentially, it was a career change. Believe it or not, I was actually studying accounting.
Wow.
Yeah, when I kind of had an epiphany and rediscovered my passion for drawing. So I went back to studying, if you like. I did a short course called Character Design for Animation at a uni in London, Central St. Martin's, King's Cross. And it was taught by a Disney animator. And yeah, it was amazing. Well, former Disney animator, it was amazing. And yeah, just like, I think by week 3, I was like, from using it as something to just improve my drawings. So the reason I went on the course is because I realized I was rusty. From that to deciding that's what I wanted to do as a career, basically in 3 weeks. And just pursued it from then. Did a master's in animation. And yeah, from then, just have been pursuing this.
Well. So how did you get your first job?
Oh, good question. Yeah, so through the course, I made good friends on the course, and then we all kind of made a pact to recommend each other. So my first role was actually another classmate of mine who got in to a studio called Nexus before me. And she basically recommended me and started there on an internship. And then they hired me as a full-time freelancer. And then, yeah, that was my first start, really. Working on an app called Headspace. It's like
I've used Headspace.
Yeah, Headspace. Yeah. So mindfulness and all that kind of stuff, but with cartoon characters.
That is really, really cool. And it sums up, it is always, unfortunately, who you know, and that's why it's so important to make connections, get out there, go to different events and stuff as well. So the next question is, what tools and softwares do you use for character design? Or what do you prefer? What do you recommend?
Yeah, definitely. So in terms of like, industry standard, I do use Photoshop. I've recently bought myself an iPad, so I'm trying to learn how to use Procreate as well. Just thought, a lot of people use it. I just thought, let me see what the fuss is about. If it is something that I can be comfortable using. I still prefer Photoshop, but it's early days. But my absolute favorite, when I'm struggling to design a character, I always go back to pencil and paper, and I like to figure it out.
Nice. Good answer. Very good answer. Okay, now what would you say are your 3 design do's?
Oh, my 3 design do's. I would say first one is design from the inside out. I'm very much a personality first character designer. I think it's important to know exactly who your character is. And then from that, starting point, it's much easier to decide what they're going to look like. Whereas if you do it the other way around, it's quite tough. And then the second one is to explore unexpected possibilities. What I mean by that is, don't just go for the generic thing. So for example, if you're designing a superhero male, don't just think, muscly and he's got to have a rugged look and a square jaw. Maybe try someone who's actually really skinny, or someone who's really big. And my third tip would be definitely to put your personality in there. What makes character designs fun is that people can see that you enjoy doing it as well. Fun really comes out in that. So put a bit of yourself in there, and hopefully the audience will love it.
Yes, yeah, really, really insightful. I'd say point 2 is probably most interesting for me, because for the Norman show, the one thing I did not do as much as I should have is explore the characters. So I originally drew the characters when I was about 10 or or so.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like over time, obviously they've changed as I got better at drawing, but I've never really sat and thought, what do these characters do, like personality wise, like what should they look like. I kind of stuck with their stereotypes and just went through there. So it's some good advice, and you see in different films and art books that you go through so many iterations, and that's something I just never really did.
So, fair enough. It's really cool that you've carried something all the way through from that age. And cool.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And then final question on the opposite side is, what are your 3 character design don'ts?
Right. So number 1 is kind of based on number 2 of the previous ones in terms of the do's. So don't just go for the obvious. I think a lot of people would be able to tell and would immediately be bored if you kind of just go for the obvious thing. As I said with the superhero thing, like the good thing about doing that is they would be able to tell immediately what it is, but it's not as interesting, basically. So I would say don't just go for the obvious. You can start with the obvious, but then always kind of explore it and see how you can make it better and still fit the brief. And then number 2 is just try not to make the proportions even. So visually, kind of paying attention to the size of the head, the size of the torso, and the size of the legs especially. And you want those to be at different ratios, just so the character looks more interesting. And number 3 would be don't overthink things. I'm guilty of this. Like, honestly, it will kill your creativity, and you'll just end up not making something that you like. So don't overthink it. Just go for it. If it works, it works. You can always. If it doesn't, it doesn't. You can always start again.
I've got one more question I just thought of. Since you do character design and illustration, what would you say is the biggest fundamental difference between designing for books and designing for animation?
Oh, that's a really good question. So I think I've been asked this before as well, and I didn't know how to articulate it at first. But I would say one of the biggest differences is that when you're designing for books, it's usually just you who is kind of the final authority on the character. I mean, you might have an art director who might say, okay, maybe try this, but essentially they're trusting you to be the one to know what's best. But with animation, you'll definitely have someone who will basically give you more feedback. And if the character's not right, they'll tell you exactly, what's wrong. So it's more collaborative in that way. And also with animation, other people are going to work on those characters. So you really need to give them all the information that they need, and you have to do, much more iterations of it, angles, expressions, turnarounds, poses. You need to give, because it's going to be given to an animator, so you need to give them all that. Whereas with illustration, you're the one who's going to be working on it. So as long as you can draw it, it doesn't really matter if you've done all that work beforehand.
Brilliant. Very, very useful. Okay, right. Thank you so much for that, Selim. If anyone is more interested in the work Selim has done, please check out his Instagram, SelimSunu86. Should be on the screen here. Thanks.
Nice one. Thanks.
Thank you.